Hey guys, welcome to the Mike F and Garage channel again. Anyway, we are heading right now, if you guys want to come along, it'd be kind of fun, and we are going to look at an Audi A3. When I was looking for cars for sale, I was actually looking for a car for sale. I'm in my wife's, this is my wife's BRM TDI. I saw some sport wagons, pretty good prices on like Wednesday, and my oil pressure gauge came on Friday by the time Friday came around. So anyway, it's a TDI A3, and it looks like it was well kept in really good condition from the photos. I can't really tell. We'll find out when we get there. And his brother was driving it, and he went up to a traffic light, and he said he stopped, and then he went to go, and the car barely would move, went across the intersection, he pulled over the side of the road, and then the engine turned, or the engine didn't turn off, but he put it in park, tried to turn off the engine and reset it, and it actually wouldn't work anymore. It wouldn't go into gear. So usually what that is on VWs, the DSG transmission is a very reliable transmission, but it does have its quirks and issues. One of them is that the mechatronic unit, which is basically it's like a valve body, but it's also electronically controlled, and it goes into the computer system. It actually can fail. So there's some wires in there, and it's not very common for that to happen, but some of the wires in there can actually break inside the mechatronic unit, and it can fail and cause the problem that's happening with his. So basically you need a new mechatronic unit. They're like, if you can buy one new, they're like, the one for that car is like a little over $1,500, I believe, plus shipping and whatever. And so then when he tied at the shop, just to get it diagnosed, it was running and everything before that, and he went into the shop, and when they went to start the engine, all the dash lights were black and it wouldn't start. So it's got some issues, and I priced it accordingly, of course, and I'm gonna see if it's worth fixing. So I thought, maybe I'll pick it up. It is a CBEA engine, so it does have the hex shaft that needs to be replaced, and I made him aware of that. All those things cost quite a bit of money. And it does have 160,000 miles on it, but it's a very clean car from the photos. And so anyway, we will check that out and see if it can be saved, and we'll stick around, check it out. Let's just see what happens. Talk to you in the next portion. The Audi A3 TDI diesel. Not much difference in the Jetta as far as the space, but they are a little tighter under the hood, looks like. Looks like it's very well taken care of. And it just has, there's no issues inside. Let's look at the upholstery and stuff. It looks pretty nice. Nice looking car. So anyway, it's got sunroofs. It's kind of got the small sunroof and then another small sunroof. It's kind of cool. Probably a little bit less problematic than the big one that is in my car. But anyway, that's this car. So it's an A3. It looks all right. Cool. Get that on a hook, bring it home. See if we can fix it. And also you early MK1 Rabbit people, I know they're 4-doors, but you just don't see them with all the hubcaps and stuff like this. Look at that. And he's got this early one here. It's got a little rust going on the bottom rocker. Yeah. Look at that. Oh, he's got the cool accessories on it too. Those are neat. This had to be probably the ugliest hubcaps they ever put on them, but they are original. Wow. All right. All right, so it's the next day. Got out the truck there last night. Put it on the charger overnight, and I'll show you what it does now. All right, so key on, engine starts for a second, shuts off. Okay, what that tells me is there is something that is triggering the immobilizer to shut the engine off. On Audis, I'm not an expert at these cars, but on Audis they do have an immobilizer system. And I'm not sure they have them in the Volkswagen. I don't think they do. I think it's specific to Audis. So a lot of the parts won't interchange from a Volkswagen to Audi. And some of them are the same, but they have additional software in them. So anyway, the issue with this car is that happened once he took it to like a third shop, and the transmission again was having an issue. He took it to the third shop, and then this started happening. You know, most people would probably not buy this car. They'd probably just go, well, it's just too much work. But you know, it's a really nice car, and it would be a shame to see it go to the crusher or to be dismantled just over that. So let's see if we can fix it. One of the other issues is again the hood release, or hood, the prop isn't working, so I just propped it up temporarily with a piece of wood. Let me see if I might have one. I got two of them when I was doing the Jetta. If they're the same, maybe they are, who knows? Maybe not. Audi, you know how they are. They're almost the same, but not quite the same. So let's see if I got the one for the other car, and we'll put that on so I can have this hood up a little higher and not bump my head. All right, that's much better. It ended up being the same part. I got two of them. They sent me one. I ordered one, and they sent me two. I contacted them. They said just keep it because it's not worth sending back. So anyway, what I was doing is, before anytime I'm working on any of these cars, the first thing I do is I put in the symptoms of what I have on Google and see if there's anyone else with the same issue. And sometimes a year model. I spent about 2 hours reading forums, and one of the guys actually said, and it's so funny, this looks a lot the same, but it is different. It's a different body style actually than it's a different frame, everything than the VW Jetta, but the transmission and engine are pretty much the same, other than the software and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out, and what I found is, I was looking on the forums, and they said that somewhere in here on this model, that it's possible, one of the guys said that there's a wire that gets pinched, and he's seen several of them with the same issue. So let's see first if that's the issue with the dash lights. I really don't know. It could be a number of things. It could be fuse, it could be a lot of things, but I thought, you know, since that's an issue, what I'm gonna do is just take the battery out, take the air cleaner off, and just kind of look around and see if I can find the wire that he's talking about that gets pinched and broken. So, and then it causes the lights to go out on the dash, and then that would cause the immobilizer to be initiated. So you know, when the immobilizer is initiated, then it'll, you know, it won't start and run. It'll just start, shut off just like that. So the immobilizer is trying to fight against the computer because it sees that the dash lights are out, like somebody's trying to steal something. So that's what I'm thinking is happening. Let's take this apart. I'll bring you back in when I get it all apart, and we'll look at it and see what's happening. All right, so they say somewhere under here, possibly there's a wire that gets worn through, and it might be right here, but it doesn't look like it's worn through. So I'm going to start with, first of all, you know, probably what I should have done at the beginning. I would just wanted to eliminate that first, because it was on the forum, and so the guy said several of the cars he's seen with that issue. So I'm not certain, maybe somebody else can tell me what part of the, if you see it, if I don't figure this out, where that harness would be ruptured at, and I don't see anything. So what I think I'm going to do now, again, what I probably should have done in the beginning, is just check the fuses and make sure, see if there's any fuses that are blown. Yeah, maybe this one right here. No, not that one. What I'm going to do is, and how I usually do that is I'll use a test light on both sides of the terminals, and sometimes I'll do it, you know, wiggle the fuse around and make sure that they're getting contact. And some people use a voltmeter. When you use a voltmeter, a lot of times you're testing volts, but you're not testing amps, and you might get a misreading. So the best way to do it is usually with a test light. So we'll run through all these. I'll check both sides of every terminal, hook up the battery again, I test both sides of every terminal and see if I can find a bad fuse in here or inside the car, and see if there's anything. You know, it could be a couple different things. It could be the power control. It could be that the transmission shorted and sent a signal to the PCM power control module, shorted that. So I may have to fix the transmission first and then go there. So it's, you know, you start throwing money at these things, unfortunately, sometimes, to be able to figure out where it went, because we know that the mechatronic unit is failed because of the symptoms that he had. So I'm sure that has failed, and it's not a really common thing, but it does happen sometimes. Actually, I don't think it's very often. So maybe somebody can comment on that if you're a VW Audi worker. Maybe you've seen more of them than I have, but the PCM on them can fail. There can be, you know, usually what happens is what I was reading, I was checking. Jax has a Giga something. Jax, he does a lot of work on DQ250 transmissions, and he said that what happens is there's a little hole, a vent hole in mechatronic unit, and what happens is people overfill the transmission because they're difficult to fill, right? Or they forget to drain off the additional fluid, and then the fluid goes up and goes into the vent hole and gets the electronics wet, and then even though they're coated, eventually it kind of works its way in there and then starts to cause problems with the mechatronic unit. So that's when it's an electronic issue, which is not very often. So let's eliminate the fuse being a problem. And, you know, like I said, I just wanted to check this real quick. It doesn't take long to do, but I'll go ahead and start checking fuses now, and we'll go from there. So I was running the fuses. Again, I do it like this real quick. If I can hook that thing, I'll go through and check both sides of all of them with a test light. And then I noticed this here. I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but if you can see, all the fuses all have numbers on them. And this one obviously has been in the past. I know it's not these people, they didn't work on cars. Has been replaced. You can see it's a 30 amp they put in there. What I want to find out is what that one went for. So I may have to refer to the Bentley, find that out, because that's obviously been replaced a few times at some point. And somebody's obviously been looking in there. It could be, they said the fans were replaced on this. You know, he had fans recently replaced. It could have been that's a fuse for that. I don't know. So we need to find out why that one's all kind of boogery looking around there. You can see. Yeah. So it is good. It does check through it. I've checked the connection on it. So it's not causing the exact problem we're having right now. Let's check the other fuses inside. They're behind the panel back here. So the fuses are actually behind this little panel here on the side, and they have what they're for right here. So once I get see if I have one that's bad, or maybe I'll look through here and find the pin number for the dash lights and see if I can eliminate that. So let's try doing these, and I'll bring it back in. So all the fuses were good that I can tell, except I couldn't test any of 1 through 6, which are, if you can read there, diagnostic engine, ABS, airbag, heating, air conditioning, adaptive lights left and right. So I'm thinking it's looking to me a lot like it could be the PCM is not working. So, you know, it's going to take some reading. It's not going to be something I just know right off the bat, because I am not a Volkswagen technician. So anyway, but I noticed these are dead. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to hook up the OBD2, and I'm going to see if I get maybe it, you know, because it says onboard diagnostics are not working. So I know that the computer probably is okay, because the engine does start, and it wouldn't start probably at all if the computer wasn't working, but it does shut right off because it's getting a signal from the what's it called, immobilizer unit. So anyway, I'll put this back on, and then we'll go ahead and proceed with putting the OBD2 in and check onboard diagnostics to see what we get. All right, so this is my laptop. We're doing we have it hooked up using VCDS. VCDS is a way that you test these cars. If you have a Volkswagen or Audi, even if you don't work on it, it's always a good idea to be able to do your own tests to find out things and get to know this program. VCDS it's about $300 or something. I don't remember how much it was, but it's worth getting. Now they have a free version of it, but this is the full version, which is, like I said, worth buying. And let's see what the codes are. And what I'm going to do, I'm doing something called auto scan. It looks like there's an engine code, we got a transmission code, we got a ABS brakes code, several of them going on, and let's see what they are. And because the mass airflow sensor, because I have it disconnected right now, we know what that one is. So anyway, I'll bring you back in once we get the whole thing. It takes about 10 minutes for it to do this. So we got like J285 is control module instrument cluster, is no communication. And we got let me bring you back in a second. The controller won't even, I try and see what the codes are in the transmission, and it won't even go there because obviously so there's some sort of a short in that. You got a malfunction in the engine, of course. It's not even a malfunction. Let's look at it real quick, see if there's any other things. just transmission control module. It's not recognizing it. It's almost acting like it's unplugged. Like if I unplug the transmission. And no communication with the instrument cluster. So it's getting all these things go through the instrument cluster. And then engine start blocked by a mobilizer, because the mobilizer is sensing there's no engine cluster. So it thinks there's somebody stealing it, so it's actually doing that. So let's look at some of the other things. It looks like it's probably all from one issue, other than possibly it could have started with the transmission, because he did say it ran. He went out with starting it every day, every few days, to make sure the battery was up, because he was going to get it fixed. And then all of a sudden this happened, and then he was like, well, the shop just didn't know how to fix it. You know, it's something that could take a bit of time, so that's why, you know, most people don't want to fix something like this. And I just thought, you know, it'd be kind of fun to look at. So the auto HVAC, there's issues here, and it's basically everything's leading to, you know, if you look at all the codes, they all lead to the instrument cluster, no communication. So everything goes through this instrument cluster control module, and somehow it's either not getting power to fire it, or it's itself not working. So you know, I'm wondering if it's all stemmed from, looks like they had replaced that fuse. Maybe they've been having a problem before this guy got the car, because he was unaware of it. And then when they bought it, the transmission went out. You know, maybe it was related, I don't know. But let's see if we can figure this out. It's going to take a little bit of work. I'm going to go on the computer, spend a little bit of time on it, and, you know, just see if it's possible to fix it. You know, it'd be nice if it could be fixed. And then, and my wife's, like I said, she's been bugging me about having something other than a Volkswagen. And I thought, well, you know, she wanted a BMW, and I don't really want to pay for the fuel for that. So anyway, so I thought this might be kind of cool. But again, it is a complicated problem. It probably is a simple problem that's become complicated. It seems like when you look at all these things, they all lead to one thing. So there's probably either a broken wire or one control module that's bad, and that's causing all this stuff. So it's not getting any communication with the transmission. Almost maybe I should disconnect the plug to the trans and just try disconnecting that and see if that improves anything. Because maybe it's shorting. I don't know. Let's maybe try a few things, and I'll think about some stuff that I need to do, and I'll get back, bring you guys back in. All right, I'll talk to you a little bit later. All right, guys, here was where we're at. I went ahead and did some research, spent some serious money here. Let's see if it works. It's pretty scary, but again, I'll tell you guys what I paid for the car. I paid $2,200 for the car. It has a running engine in it, and obviously we heard it run. I really talked to people. They were very nice people and they're actually watching the YouTube channel now, because they're air code people and weren't aware that the channel exists. A lot of people don't know what it does. So I went ahead, kind of checked everything out here, and what I came up with, again, so I ran the computer, I ran the VCDS on it. I could not communicate with the transmission controller. So since I can't communicate with that, I know that probably shorted the transmission controller. Okay, now it could be possibly that because that shorted, and he was starting it, stopping it a few times, either one of two things happen. Either the short continued in through the system and wiped out something else, which is possible, or the computer recognized the short and then decided to use the immobilizer to shut everything off. So in order to continue on this, I think the best thing, the only thing I can do is actually replace the mechatronic unit, which is very expensive. I think ECS is helping us a little bit on this. ECS Tuning sells those parts, so you guys know. ECS Tuning has them. I talked to them on the phone, told them I was a YouTube channel. They said, hey, we can help you a little bit, but not on that specific part because it is a Volkswagen part, and there's only so much room in those to sell them for any less. So they were able to help me with some fluids and maybe give you some deal on shipping and stuff like that. So they're really, you know, very good people there. If you ever have a problem with your transmission, they do. He did say that he double checked everything to make sure that it comes out plug and play. It's really important on this car because it has a immobilizer. It has to be a plug and play part where they put the software in it already before they send it. I was able to tell him that I could not communicate with it, so I couldn't get the software version or anything off of it. So he looked it up by VIN number, and he was able to do that. So if you're ever having a problem with your transmission, ECS Tuning, keep them in mind. Oh, I just noticed it has paddle shifters too. Neat. That'll be fun. So I'll have to adapt those in. But anyway, so we got some parts coming. A lot of money spent, and if I can fix it, which I think I can, once I get past that part, I think I can figure out if it blew something else. I think I can figure it out, but I'm not sure. It's one of those things that maybe. Oh boy, unless I could always put in an immobilizer delete and actually drive the car without that. So that's possible too, to do that in a tune. So anyway, I'm learning more about that as well. We'll be doing videos on tuning and tuning your car and stuff like that in the future. On some of these things, some of you guys are interested in some of that performance stuff. Malone is the place for that. That's definitely the best place in my opinion for tuning, because it's all done through OBD2 instead of some of them you have to hook up the transmission stuff and all that. This one you just go right through OBD2. You can use a I think it's called TuneZilla or something like that. They sell some of the places, and you can use that. It becomes VIN specific, so that tuner stays with your car if you do it that way. If you want to do it yourself and then send the tune in and then have them modify it and then put it back in. If you don't want to do any of that, you can call Kale Tuning. If you're in Orange County, LA, or anywhere in there, Kale Tuning, he's in Costa Mesa, and he'll do it for you. It costs a little bit more, but then again, like I said, you don't have to deal with all that. So you don't have to buy the tuning box and all that stuff. Anyway, let's continue on. We'll talk to you guys in the next video. I'm just going to make this one end it here, and then we will see in the saga, if you guys want to watch what happens with this car next in the next video, and see if it fixes it. I'm actually going to show how to put the mechatronic unit in your transmission, which does fail occasionally. Most of the time, the first thing I would just always replace the clutches first, and then if the other issue is if you have something wrong, you can actually replace the valve body on the mechatronic. But you can also replace the whole mechatronic unit with the valve body, and that's what I've got coming. So anyway, I'll talk to you in the next one. Please like, share, and subscribe.